What's up, A to Z Sports Live for Titan Game Day Live. It is our pregame show, and the Packers and Malik Willis are in town, and the Titans looking to get the first win of the season against a familiar foe with former backup quarterback Malik Willis on the field, making the start against the Titans today. Jordan Love, in fact, out with that MCL sprain. I think we all kind of knew that was going to happen, but he did make the trip. But Jordan Love out, so we've got Malik Willis versus Will Levis. And Easton, I'm pumped up because this opening segment is all you. And you say it is time for the Titans to put up or shut up this Sunday and not, and if they go 0-3, my goodness, what will burn? Most things. So we're going to have a great show here on our Titan Game Day Live presented by X Golf Nashville and Murfreesboro. We've got our pregame show right now, our halftime show at halftime, and right after the game, our post-game show as well. I want to get things started before we officially get going. But Easton, tell the people what they have to do here as they jump in here on our pregame show this morning.
Good morning, people. Welcome in. We appreciate you being with us live. Help us out. Hit like, hit retweet, hit subscribe. All of the buttons that you see on your screen right now, wherever you're watching us, make sure you're hitting them for us. Likes are genuinely the easiest way that you can help us out. We appreciate you guys doing that. So on Facebook, on YouTube, smash that like button for us. Copy the link, send it to a friend you know is sitting on their couch getting ready for the Titans. Antsy, doesn't know what to do with themselves. Hey, here's something to do. Let's talk Titans and get our minds right for this game here in about 30 minutes. We appreciate all of you being here with us pregame today.
Yep, let's get it going officially. Welcome into A to Z Sports, our Titan pregame show powered by X Golf Nashville and Murfreesboro. I want to give a great shout out to all of our partners for Titan Game Day Live this season. X Golf Nashville and Murfreesboro, the home of indoor golf in Middle Tennessee. X Golf, play, train, entertain. To book your bays and have a great time, playxgolf.com. BetMGM, log in today to get your Pro Football Boost Pack to acquire tokens for even more winnings. BetMGM, an official partner of the Tennessee Titans, and TDOT, be part of the solution to end littering and make sure nobody trashes Tennessee by visiting nobodytrashestennessee.com, especially on game day. I say Z Dean says, must win or can't lose. I think that's a great way to kick this thing off here, Easton. So I will let you start it off by the title of the show is It's Time for the Titans to Put Up or Shut Up versus Malik Willis, and the Packers set the table for us today for this game.
So everybody that's been with us on the pregame shows or the postgame shows for that matter so far, you know that I have been Captain Patience the first 2 weeks, and it's been to much dismay for many of you in the comments, me not being as upset as you'd like me to be. Today is a day where I'm gently putting my foot down on a couple of things. I'm not going so far as to say if you lose today, then just fold the season. That's still very silly. It'd be dumb for me to come on this show 2 weeks ago and say we have to be patient, and then by week 3 say never mind, let's not be patient. But as many folks in the comments have said, this feels like a must win. I feel like most teams facing 0-3 feel like it's a must win. But for Titans fans today, I think it has nothing to do with the record. It has everything to do with who you're playing. This could be facing whatever record. You can't lose to Malik Willis. This could be to go 3-0, and they would still feel this is a must win against Malik Willis just because of that narrative juxtaposition of Levis and Willis. And there were some Willis hangers on that felt like the Titans got rid of the wrong quarterback, which is a thing that I have literally read this week, which is quite silly. But we're going to see them both today. And I first of all, I'm so excited. I can't wait. We all week long, Austin, you and I and everybody in the national media were saying, please just don't rob us of this Malik Willis Titans matchup. And luckily, Jordan Love, that charade, which many Green Bay fans deluded themselves into thinking Jordan Love was going to play today. I saw a lot of pushback for some articles I wrote this week about how it's going to be Willis. It was always going to be Willis. This was a grand charade. And I do think Love is close. He's just not ready to go. So today, what the expectations are for me, for many of you that are going to come into the postgame show if they lose and be all over me, the expectations are the trajectory must continue to go up. And I think the only way that can happen is for today to get a win. I've been a big trajectory guy these first 2 weeks, and I have harped on the fact that they've been the more productive team in the first 2 games. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. They have been more productive than their opponent. I think they've also been the better team than their opponent in their first 2 games. Now, you can argue the better team doesn't make the more mistakes, which I'm willing to give some room there. But the point is, they have done enough to win both games. And as we talked about on last week's postgame show, Austin, they feel a little bit ahead of schedule, at least where I thought they would be. I thought they would look a little bit less competitive this early in the season than they have been. And so today, if you're going to take the next step from these first two games, especially Will Levis, right? Week 1, some good, but a lot of bad. Week 2, some really bad again, unbelievably bad. How are you doing this again bad? But the bones of how he played, quite good when you go back and watch that tape. A much better week for him. Sure. I think today the next step is you got to eliminate that how do you be so bad moment, right? You can't have that moment, and you have to take the next step. If he plays like he did 95% of the time last week and eliminates 2 or 3 big mistakes, I think the Titans, and we'll get to our score predictions later. I don't want to spoil this.
Sure.
I come into most Titans games just excited about, I can't wait to see what happens. I don't know the range of outcomes. There's so many things that could happen. I can't wait. Today.
How will the Titans score 17 points today?
Right, exactly. There's so many ways to get there. But today, and this whole weekend, I've been in a rare mind space, a rare headspace, Austin. I feel very clear on what I think we're going to see today. I'm quite confident about what I think is going to happen in this game.
Oh, man. All right. So, look.
You seem less confident.
I mean, I don't know what I'm going to see. Like, I think I know what I'm going to see on the scoreboard. Okay. I did see a comment here. Says Brad says, anybody else got money on it on BetMGM? Yeah. I've got 3 plays out there on BetMGM for this Titans Packers game. We'll talk about that towards the end of this pregame show, as we're just about 25 minutes or less away from kickoff. I did see this comment I wanted to get to real quick, because Hammer says, we sure that's silly. And Hammer said this in
the Willis thing.
Did you trade the right quarterback? Should you have kept Malik instead of trading him away for Levis? No,
yes,
it is absolutely silly, because Malik Willis is not the better quarterback of the two. In my opinion, Malik Willis last week for the Packers is the same game that he won his first start in the NFL at the Houston Texans for the Titans, when Derrick Henry had one of his 18 200-yard rushing games against the Houston Texans organization. So I think I know what I'm going to watch. I think it's going to be low scoring, and I think it's going to be close. And I think it's going to make Titans fans' anxiety climb throughout the game. And so sports anxiety is something that I have a very close relationship to when it comes to the Tennessee Volunteers.
Right.
And I know how that can affect people. So let's ask everybody watching here. And this is a pretty simple question here. It's, what's your confidence level in the Titans to beat Malik Willis and the Packers? What is your confidence level in the Titans to beat Malik Willis and the Green Bay Packers on a 1 through 10 scale? Because they should beat this team, right?
Yep.
Malik Willis is not an NFL starting quarterback. The Titans have the number 1 defense in the NFL when it comes to yards allowed. Will Levis and the Titans in general were the better football team against both the Chicago Bears and the New York Jets, but they lost because they did the dumb thing to shoot themselves in the foot to lose the game.
Yep.
And so I'm going to go through some confidence level chats here, and then I'll ask you, Easton, your confidence level 1 through 10 on the Titans to beat this Packers team. Guillermo starts us off with a 7. Jake says a 9. A different Jake says 5.25. Remember the rule, Easton.
That's right. I know the rule. Don't worry. I'm not getting anywhere near the median today.
There you go. Decibels work too. Decimals, not decibels. Decibels. Right. We'll see how loud it'll be. I don't know.
Sure.
Roberto says 7. Stanley McMurray says 8. Hammer with a 3. Derek with a 6.5. Bork with a 7. Rashad just flat out 10. Will Dodson is under that threshold at a 4.6. Brad with a 10. Chat Posse with a 6, a 7. I'm seeing a lot of 6s and 7s. I've seen a couple of fence riders. Corey and God's Child. Get off the fence. Pick one. A minus says a 10, and then Big G says a 3. And then Chase says 3, don't trust Levis. And I think that's fine to not trust Will Levis. So, Easton, what is your confidence level in the Titans actually winning this game against Malik and the Packers?
Yeah, it's a 9.
It's
a 9. Yeah, honestly, I lean more like a 9.25, 9.3 than on the other side of the 9. I am extremely confident that they win this game for all the reasons we laid out. First of all, I love week 3 in the NFL. I think we make so much about week 2, especially from a statistical betting standpoint. It's like, oh, everybody's trying to avoid 0-2, half the league trying to avoid 0-2, and the playoff odds if you go 0-2. I think the drama is much more avoiding 0-3, because as much as 0-2 feels like you're really behind the 8 ball, 0-3 can feel like you're already dead.
Yeah.
And I think the desperation level is at all-time highs when you are facing 0-3. So first of all, I think the Titans are clearly the more desperate team in this game. As we've laid out a couple of times, I won't reiterate all of it. They've been the more productive and arguably the better team in their first 2 games. They're playing a quarterback who is not a starting NFL caliber quarterback, and they're at home. I don't see any reason why they should not win this game. This feels like an easy spot for them to win. We'll get to the scores later. I think that they win relatively comfortably, actually. I think this is the week they put it all together. I do.
The most bet as far as percentage of lopsided bets on BetMGM this week is the Titans to cover. Now it's been 1.5 to 2.5, and now it's 3. At least it was this morning when I looked. And so that number has moved towards the Titans, but it has been very lopsided in the amount of people that are picking the Titans to win and to cover, 1.5 to 3 points on the spread. So, so your confidence level is a 9. I am not that high. I am at a 6.5.
Okay.
Because I know the Packers defense is good. You got guys like Gary Clark and Preston Smith that can do some things against the Titans offensive line that we know is very gettable. I still don't know if I trust consistency from this Titans offense to put together an entire game of moving the football. There's been a lot of 3-and-outs on top of the turnovers. And so I think going 3-and-out will allow the Packers to run the ball 50 times and to limit your possessions overall. So I still don't completely trust this team. But yes, the Tennessee Titans should win this game. So you're at a 9 out of 10. I'm at a 6.5.
Can I ask you a hypothetical on your number?
Yeah, sure.
If I was able to tell you 0 turnovers for the Titans today, what is your number now?
Then I bump up. That's a good transition. I would bump up to an 8.
Okay.
Bump up a whole 1.5. So
it hinges on that largely.
A perfect transition to where I wanted to go because it has exactly to do with my X Golf X Factor. So
sweet.
We want you guys to bring in your X Golf X Factors. If you've got the X Factor for the Titans to win the game, what do you think the X Factor will be for the Titans to win this game against the Green Bay Packers today? Drop that in the comments and we'll get to your X Factors here in a moment. But X Golf is where the X Factor comes from. X Golf is the home of indoor golf in Middle Tennessee, not just in Nashville anymore, but also have their Murfreesboro location. And so you can go multiple places to get the best indoor golf in Middle Tennessee, the home of indoor golf. You can play, train, entertain at playxgolf.com for both locations in the area. They've got the best simulator experience on the market. I've been telling Easton about this. You push a button with your club head and it tees the ball up for you.
I'm going.
Then you hit it and then it rolls right back. It's kind of like the bowling of golf simulator, but you don't even have to pick up the bowling ball out of the return. You just hit the button with your club head. It tees it right up and you can lower and raise your tee height, whatever you want to do. X Golf has it all. They've also got TVs, really good food, a full bar, a great experience, and the best simulators with the best courses for you to enjoy, whether you're a novice or whether you're a really good golfer. X Golf is where to go. PlayXGolf.com for Nashville and Murfreesboro. Easton, I'll send you to the chat. What are you seeing from the X Factors from the chat this morning so far?
I'm seeing a good selection of things here. Special teams is a common one, as Jensen says here. I think an interesting angle here. Unk saying DeAndre Hopkins, the return of DeAndre Hopkins impact this Titans offense. I think that's a good take. Derek thinks Big Jeff needs to take this game over. Hammer with a very common answer here. Will Levis is the only answer in his book. Jake says the tackles, JC Latham and MPF need to protect Will Levis a little bit better. PBFT.J thinks Malik needs to fumble the ball a couple of times, which is on the table. Eddie thinks the OC and the play callers, which I'm going to read into this answer and say maybe adjustments is a big one there. I think that's a very good answer from Eddie. 615, same thing there. Brian Callahan, Lucas, special teams. Roberto, kind of leading into what's going to be my X factor here in a minute. Limiting Josh Jacobs on the defensive side of the ball, keeping the Packers from running all over the Titans like they did to the Colts last week. So, and then Ethan, no stupid turnovers. So, Austin, your X factor is on the offensive side of the ball, and it has to do with turnovers.
It does. And my X factor is end every offensive possession by kicking the football in some form or fashion.
That's a good rule. I like it.
Right. I can't remember if I was on the show with you or Sam or Zach when I said this past week, but just either kick a field goal or punt, right? And the irony in this is sometimes punting has not been smooth. But I did talk to Ryan Stonehouse Wednesday night at Sam's Survivor 47 premiere party. And Ryan Stonehouse is also very frustrated and more frustrated than everybody else is for the 2 back-to-back games where they've had a punt block in 3 games in a row for him. 4 punts blocked for Ryan Stonehouse in his last 3 games in the regular season. So, it's just simply you can't do it again. And like we can all talk about this, and it's not for right now, but my gosh, like if Will Levis does it again, like what's the punishment on the other side of it if Will Levis wrecks the car into the neighbor's mailbox 3 weeks in a row? I don't know, but I don't want to find out, to be honest. And so I think it's just end every drive on offense with either a punt or a field goal. And that also means an extra point. So I think if the Titans can do that, they win the game. They win the game. They beat the Packers. They are 1-2, and Malik Willis goes back home, and Jordan Love starts next week against the Vikings for the Packers, and they're sitting there at 1-2 as well. But they have their whole season ahead, and I think the Titans have their whole season ahead if they can get to 1-2. The Titans are the more desperate team, like you said earlier on, but just end every offensive possession by putting a foot to the football and letting it be kicked somewhere. That's my X factor.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious, but it is paramount, and it's obvious as it is. It has been tricky for them these first 2 weeks, so you're all over it on that one. By the way, Amnesia in the chat asking what I'm drinking. It looks like muddy water. I've gotten this question every time I've been on the show. Guys, it's coffee. That's what coffee looks like.
It looks like it's more cream with a side of coffee.
It is a creamer. Yeah, it's not black coffee. Yeah,
it's heavily creamed coffee. It looks.
I don't know about heavily, but it is not
pretty damn heavily creamed coffee.
It's not black. It's 1 tablespoon of cream. It's not a lot of cream. Okay.
The see-through tumbler is really throwing you under the bus.
It is. You know what? I'll get a wrap or something.
The see-through tumbler is Hugh Freeze, and you are an Auburn quarterback.
Fair enough. So my X factor is on the defensive side of the ball today. And it's what I've been harping on all week. Also obvious if you've been listening to this show or reading the article that I wrote yesterday at A2Z-Sports.com. It's the defensive setting the edge in the run game. The defense has a weakness, and it is allowing opposing offenses to get outside. We talked about it, Austin and I did on Wednesday's show. We showed the 4 explosive plays the Titans have allowed in the run game this year. All of them have been opposing offenses getting to the edge quickly, getting an athlete in space, and running to the boundary, and they have found success. Now, that's not to say that if the Packers run to the outside all the time, they're just going to keep chunking off yards. But if they're going to want to be successful, they'll do a lot of that to the edge. I think you're going to see a lot of running to the edge today. I don't think they're going to test Tavondre Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons up the middle. I wouldn't. So we saw last week, Josh Jacobs is one of the few bell cow backs left in the league. He's a volume carrier. He's capable of leaning on you, especially late in the game, and wearing you down. And the Titans are going to have to do a good job today of stopping that. So the specific players that falls on, that's on Harold Landry, that's on Arden Key, that's on Jack Gibbons, that's on Kenneth Murray, that's on Ernest Jones. All the linebackers, inside or outside, those guys are going to have to take good angles, plug their gaps, do their job, and not allow big chunk plays, or else the Packers are going to have a chance.
That's it. Yeah. Is there a threat? Is off the top of my head hypothetical, so you can take your time. Is there a threshold for Josh Jacobs rushing yards where you're like, if the Titans allow Josh Jacobs to get to X amount of yards, they are in trouble? I know it's a weird way to put it, but I'm trying to figure out, because
that's hard, because I could see him running for like 135 yards and Malik just can't pass the ball and they still lose. So maybe it's more like a yards per carry thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I think if he's averaging north of like 5.5 yards per carry, I think they probably lose the game. That's a lot of first downs. That's a lot of ease with which you're cutting through the defense. The defense, that was a weird way of saying that. So I think that might be the threshold, is you need to make him an inefficient runner and probably establish that early, because last week, again, Josh Jacobs, I think he had 135 yards in the first half. Yeah. So, you can't let him start so hot.
In your opinion, how much of an advantage do the Titans have on knowing Malik Willis as well as they do? Like because Malik's legs can be a weapon, and running quarterbacks are a wild card. They can have the perfect defended play be a 12-yard run for a first down by the QB, and it breaks your spirits, right?
Yeah, on a no deal, some deal, big deal scale, it's a some deal. It's something.
Small
it's not
deal.
everything or nothing. Yeah, I mean, it's small deal. That's much better. I think that they know better than anybody what his weaknesses are, and so they should know how to expose those. And more like if you're playing basketball on a really talented point guard, you know which way you want to push them. If you've done your research, you know which way you want to try to lead them to make them try to go to their weak hand, or get them in a spot where they're not as efficient of a shooter. Like, that's the way the Titans are going to have to play defense against Malik Willis today. They're going to need to know where his spots are, and more importantly, where his spots aren't, and make him get to those spots that he's uncomfortable in or ineffective in.
Yeah, and to me, it's pushing Malik Willis to his left. Like, I think that,
so it is literally directional. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, because I have seen now he's gotten better. Like, he has improved a good bit, but he struggles fundamentally and with his throwing technique when he's moving to his left, on getting his shoulders turned, his legs to match, to throw the football accurately down the field. So if you can push him to his left, then I think you can have a chance to he's just going to either run the football, or he's going to throw an inaccurate pass and may allow you to make a play, because I think the Titans defense needs to create a turnover as well in this game. So I did see a comment that I thought was interesting. Cole says, did y'all even watch Willis play last week?
I did.
The Titans held Willis hostage.
No, they did not.
I don't even know what that means. Like,
he completed 12 passes, guys. Let's relax. He didn't qualify as a passer in that game, according to most databases from a statistical standpoint. He had, I mean, in the 12 passes he made, he looked good, but that was a baby wheels of all baby wheels, training wheels rather, game. I saw a lot of Packers fans saying, like, that was the best Willis game ever. And I'm like, you guys didn't watch his debut, because like you said, Austin, it was identical to the way they played him against Houston in 2022.
And also, we all know that Mike Vrabel did not have a quarterback developer on his staff. Like,
that
so
is
it's
also
like,
true.
Right. And so, yeah, Brian Callahan and Rand Carthon traded Malik away because they wanted to give him more of an opportunity. So like, that's like kind of like, no, they didn't. They literally did not hold him hostage because they let him go. Like, just by the term of the word you used there. Cole.
Yeah.
Like, it's the opposite effect on that. All right. We've got about 7 minutes until kickoff. So it is now time for us to get to our predictions. We've got our score predictions. So if you guys want to drop your score predictions in the chat, Packers versus Titans. I did see a tweet that came across a lot of Packers fans in Nashville, which is not a surprise by any means. I was about
to say, you're telling me one of the best traveling fan bases in the league showed up well to one of the best cities in the league.
There's just
against
a lot
team
of
that's
Packers
0-2.
fans that live here too. Yeah, there's a lot of Packers fans that just make their residence Middle Tennessee. So if you've got bets, put them in the chat as well. All of our pregame predictions brought to you by our longtime friends, BetMGM. Use our bonus code ATOZ Sports. That's ATOZ Sports when you sign up. Go big with your first bet, because if you miss it, you get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if that first bet misses. So you can take advantage of that with BetMGM. They've got boosted odds specials that come out every weekend for pro football and college football. I've been getting my butt whooped in college football. Thank goodness Tennessee covered the 7.5, because I was getting shaky on that late.
So was I. I was sweating that one.
I needed a win, baby. And I got 3 things I need to have happen today in this Titans Packers game. So I'll go ahead and jump into it, and we'll get to all your score predictions here too. You mentioned this at the tail end of last week's pregame show, that the easiest bet on the NFL board last week was Malik Willis under passing yards.
Free money.
And I took it today. It was at 149.5.
It's less free today.
Friday morning.
Last week it was like 164. It was outrageous. And he had never eclipsed 100 yards passing. Last week he did. He got to like 122. And today the total's 140 something, like you said. So it's
146.5. It was a couple hours ago. I got it at 149.5 on Friday. So that is a number I played so hard.
So did I.
One thing I'm not doing is I'm not betting on Tajay Spears, which means Tajay Spears is going to have a better day than he's had the last 2 days.
Well, hey, good for him in advance. Congrats.
The other game that the other thing that I played here is Will Levis rushing yards over 12.5. I
Good
think
call.
that's a number that feels comfortable to me. So I think Will Levis has over 12.5 rushing yards. He's done that the last 2 games with scrambles. I don't think he's going to shy away from any contact or opportunities to get a first down for his team. I think Will can do that obviously in one run. But the only thing that makes me nervous is being at like 14 yards rushing and then having a couple kneel downs at the end.
Right.
But those are my 2 plays that are not up with the final. So, Easton, what are your bets you've got?
Well, so both of those are ones that I'm on and ones that I was going to talk about on the show. But like the good degenerate that I am, I brought a third. So my third pick here is, and this one's kind of off the beaten path, but I do like it today. How about Tony Pollard longest rush over 15.5 yards? It's even money. And the reason behind this is because just a quick insight here from the courtesy of the Action app, which is a fantastic resource. Titans running backs have rushed for 10 or more yards on 14% of their 43 carries this year, which is tied for 6th best in the NFL. The Packers have allowed 10 or more yards on 21% of their carries against running backs this season, 3rd worst in the NFL. So I do think the Titans, especially if they're in a leading game script, going to lean heavily on Pollard in the run game today. We've seen the offensive line looked much better so far this year as a run unit than as a pass protecting unit. So I could see him breaking off a big one. All it takes is one 16-yard plus run. I like that one a lot today.
I like it too. And you said it's even money?
Yeah, it's a prop even money. So minus 115. You know, these books are bleeding us dry on the props.
Yeah,
but yes.
I got you on that. All right. So I might play that here in a second. The other bet I have goes into my score prediction. I took the Titans money line. It was at minus 155, but like I mentioned earlier, BetMGM has these odds boosts. So I put a 20% odds boost on that thing and got it down to minus 130. Titans have to win this game. And my prediction is the Titans will win this game. It's going to be disgusting. You're not going to enjoy watching it.
So?
It's going to be low scoring. The total right now has crept down even further to 37 flat.
Okay. Yeah.
It was 37.5. Previously it was 38 and then 38.5. It is now 37 flat. I think the under is a very good bet here. And this is like Iowa football in the NFL. And
like Oklahoma football, if you will.
The final score to me is going to be, I think the Titans do get 20, and I think they hold the Packers to like 16. So I'm going to 20-16. Titans win this game. That's under the 37. But I'm not betting the under. I'm just saying it's going to be ugly. But Titans win 20-16. They get the money line, and hopefully for my sake that Malik doesn't throw for 150 or more, and that Will runs for 13 or more. So there we go.
There we go. Should I give mine or should we go to the chat here real quick?
Yeah. Let's hit the chat for some predictions here.
Okay. So an important note here on the scores, as Chase mentioned earlier in the show, if the Titans don't score 30 or more points today, they will pass the 1,000 day threshold since they last scored 30 points. So it's put up or shut up time in terms of.
Here's something else too, because I saw Mike Herndon tweet out something with the Dolphins game. The Dolphins game where they scored 30 is the only time that they've scored 30 points since Derrick Henry broke his foot. So that's just a different way to look at it. Because
it makes it worse, really.
Yes, it makes it worse because he broke his foot Halloween 3 years ago. So we're almost, crazy.
Well, there's a lot of optimistic Titans fans in the comments in terms of the Titans breaking that record, not getting to quadruple digit days. Corey says 32-10, a resounding Titans win. Wes is with him, 34-13. Daniel, 35-7. Wow. A more tepid answer here from Alex, 20-17, 23-13 for Jacob, 17-14 Titans. Xavier says, Corey says 20-13. Jonathan, 17-21. The Green Bay, that's the first Green Bay win prediction that I've seen so far. Mostly Titans wins here. Ruben thinks the Packers pull it out 21-17 as well. 21-9, Amnesia 17-3, a really gross, low scoring, still landing on 17 for the Titans score from Amnesia.
I think you'll
My
take
score
it.
prediction. Sorry?
I think you would take that all day long.
Sure. Win's a win, baby. And a 14-point win at that. My answer is 24-14. I think that I think it's 24-7 late. I think the Titans are in control. I think the Packers get a late fourth quarter, garbage time touchdown to make it a little bit more respectable. But I think the Titans win relatively resoundingly. I think that they avoid the dreaded 17 number. I don't think they get to 30 points. But you know what? Go crazy. Prove me wrong. I'll be happy to come on the post-game show and talk about that. But the last thing I want to say, Austin, just to really set expectations here. Again, if they lose this game and people are mad at me for coming on the post-game show and not saying the season is over, let it not be said that I did not say that's not what's going to happen. What is going to happen is this, for me, the fork in the road here is win or lose. This is the game that determines whether the Titans actually compete this year or whether they're in a more long-term rebuild. If they win this game, I think
this is either compete year or year zero.
Correct. Right. It's like either you win today and you might actually be ahead of schedule and can compete this season for a postseason spot, or you lose this game. I'm not out on the experiment, but I am out on them being ahead of schedule, out on them competing for the postseason.
Man, that would be a lot of money spent to create a year zero in this type of situation. Now, Strike is correct. If you're picking the Titans to score 24, then they will hit 17 at some point.
Not necessarily. There could be some safeties. You never know.
Well, yeah, we'll
see.
Know. All right, that's it for us.
Right. You're probably right.
That's it for us on this pregame show. Titans and Packers are getting set to kick. Appreciate our game day partners as always. I want to give a shout out to them heading out the door. X Golf Nashville and now in Murfreesboro, the home of indoor golf in Middle Tennessee. PlayXGolf.com. BetMGM, log in and get that Pro Football Boost Pack like I used today on Titans Moneyline to get more tokens for more winnings. BetMGM, an official partner of the Tennessee Titans. And T-Dot, be part of the solution to end littering and make sure nobody trashes Tennessee, especially on game day. Visit nobodytrashestennessee.com. Enjoy the first half. We'll be right back here, Facebook and YouTube and Twitch for the halftime show. Like the show. Hit the like button, like the show. And we will see you guys at halftime.